A new analysis every week. Our experts analyze the teams of the moment. Welcome to TGC Lab.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Game Changer. Here we are one day more to talk about football, to talk about what we love, and today we have a great team to talk about Juventus under Spalletti. They have been in a good run of winning a lot of games during last months, and we thought it was a good moment to talk about them. We already did an analysis about Juventus with Igor Tudor, but a few months ago he got sacked. Then Spalletti came to the team, and yeah, we have actually the video in YouTube in Spanish. But yeah, we have some clips also talking about how Juventus was playing. I think it was around September, October. But yeah, now it's a different team. They are playing different football under Spalletti. And today, to talk about them, we have Jamie Hamilton, that he has been following them during last weeks. So yeah, welcome to our channel. And I think we are going to enjoy this analysis about Juventus under Spalletti.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ruxi. It's great to be here back in the Game Changer. Yeah, I've loved watching Juventus. Always like watching Spalletti teams. Super fun, super interesting. Lots of really different attacking dynamics to what we see from a lot of teams. So yeah, I think this should be a fun analysis.
Football is evolving, and we want you to be part of this evolution. We have created a community for people who are passionate about the game and want to reflect on it. Inside the Game Changer, on our platform, you will find clips on collective and individual trends, set-piece actions from teams around the world, matches in tactical camera, monthly talks with professionals, and a space for discussion and reflection about the game among members. Get access to exclusive discounts on our educational courses and additional content. Join the Game Changer using the discount code TGC Lab. You will find the link in the description of this video. Yeah, so that's the thing, that I think they are playing a bit different football than what we are seeing in other clubs, for example, in other leagues like in Premier League. So it's a bit fun to talk about them. I have seen some of the clips we are going to show, some of the combinations they do. But first, let's put a bit in context everyone. Let's talk about their lineup, their intentions, the most common starting lineup during last games. I think we had the lineup under Igor Tudor was quite similar, but yeah, there are now some players missing due to injury. So we're gonna go through a bit the lineup. We have Di Gregorio in goal, Kelly as a left centre back, Bremer as a center back. This hasn't changed with Igor Tudor, was the same players. But then in the right center back, now we have Kalulu, who was playing quite many games as a right wing back also, but Gatti got injured, so now Kalulu is playing more in this right center back position. In the wing backs, we have Cambiaso. I don't know if we can call him wing back, but because he is also a player who can play inside, he has a bit of a free role. He had it already under Igor Tudor. McKennie, a bit the same. I don't know if we can call him a wing back. He's also a player who can play different positions, and he has also quite freedom to attack the box, and we can see often in different parts of the field. Then Locatelli and Thuram, the two midfielders, and Igor Tudor were also the same. And then we have Yildiz and Miretti as a more advanced midfielders, number 10s, and Jonathan David as a striker. If you want to add something, Jamie, some other players that they have been participating, and some changes compared to Igor Tudor era.
Yeah, I guess there's changes on the right hand side there with Kalulu and McKennie coming in, and like you say, they kind of interchange a lot. They move around. These definitely aren't set positions there. In terms of other players, I mean, there's quite a few. It's a really interesting squad that Juventus have. Vlahovic is an injury. he started the first game under Spalletti, and that was actually really impressive, I thought, in that first game. I think it was away to Cremonese, but he's out. There's also Openda, who can play as a 9, bit more runner in behind type player. There's Conceição, who's had a shorter term injury. I think he'll be back soon, but he's an important player in those attack and midfield zones. Dribbly guy, good for combinations. Coop Miners as well is worth mentioning. Played as part of the back 3, played as an attacking midfielder, pretty versatile guy as well. So yeah, he's an important part of the squad. Zigrova plays from the right side sometimes, but I mean, again, it's not so fixed. But yeah, I think it's one of the more interesting squads. You've even got Cabal, who can play on the left side, like left wing back, left defender. So yeah, there's definitely options for Spalletti, and it's really interesting to see how he likes to arrange these players and rotate them, and sometimes they pop up in unusual places. But yeah, it's an interesting squad.
I don't know if you think like me, but if I compare the Juventus squad to some of the top teams like Inter, Napoli, Milan, Roma, I think they have a pretty good squad, and I don't think it's an excuse to say that we don't have enough squad to compete to win the league. For me, they have a quite complete squad. They have a lot of good players, and I think they should be there if I compare it, for example, to Milan, I think Juventus has better squad than Milan, for example. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I noticed from paying a bit closer attention to Juventus. You kept seeing more players, right? You're like, exactly. It's quite deep, the squad. There's some interesting players. And again, like, they weren't performing so well earlier on, and there was a lot of grumbling about, I think, and I'm not following Juventus so closely, but some of the noise you hear is, our squad isn't so good, the players aren't good enough. And well, all of a sudden it seems like they're definitely got a new energy, new lease of life, new belief. But yeah, in terms of like personnel and squad makeup, like, okay, you can identify some weaknesses, but I think it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, just if we see the striker position, you mentioned it. We have Jonathan David, we have Openda, and we have Blahovic. For me, those are 3 strikers that world-class strikers that I mean many clubs in Europe would like to have players like this in their striker position, and Juventus has 3. So,
and what's interesting about that as well, Ruxi, is they're very different strikers, right? As well.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll get to that in the analysis, but Spalletti seems to be one of those guys that isn't fazed by that. He's able to say, okay, what's the strengths of this guy? Is it a run behind? Is it to come short? Is it to be more physical? Is it to attack the box? And then tailor the attack without having to change everything, but make subtle changes to try and maximize that. And not just with the striker, but with well, it seems like most of the players in the squad.
Yeah, I remember when Thiago Motta arrived to Juventus, and we were talking before we were recording about Zirkzee, how he played in Bologna, and I think when Thiago Motta went to Juventus, he tried to use Blahovic a bit similar to Joshua Zirkzee, but I think he realized after a few games that it was not the same kind of player. Related to a bit what you say, that Spalletti have different strikers, different type of strikers, but he uses them based in their qualities, right?
Yeah, which I think is such an important, even broader topic right now in football coaching and football tactics is it's the ability of the coach, right, to assess and understand what the characteristics of the players are and the qualities, because everyone's different. It's just even as humans, not even football players, we're also different. And it seems like there's a growing attitude that recognizes that really good coaching, okay, you can coach in different ways, but there's a way to coach that really focuses on maximizing the qualities of each player and trying to develop and grow a system that allows the characteristics of the players to shine, and putting that at the forefront. And whatever shape you have or style you have is more a result of those factors, which I think, and Spalletti isn't completely that way. He also has his ideas about football, but I think he's one of those coaches that tends towards that,
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Let's go. Let's try to put some context, some stats for people to understand. No, how is Juventus right now when we are recording this? So Juventus right now is fourth on the table. We can see here with 39 points, 32 goals scored. One of the teams with more goals scored in Serie A, and 16 goals conceded. We can see here the similarities with the four teams: Inter, Milan, Napoli, and Juve. They have all conceded similar amount of goals. And if we look at already 20 games in Serie A, Juventus has won 11, draw 6, and lost 3. And if we see the amount of points, they are still close, I would say, to the first positions, only 7 points behind Inter, and 4 points and 1 only behind Napoli. 4 points below Milan, and yeah, I think they are still there. They can still compete maybe for the league. I think when Spalletti arrived after this great form, they have won many games on a row, so maybe they can compete for the title. If we see also a bit in terms of producing, it's one of the teams very similar to Inter that produce more expected goals. So it's a team that can create chances quite easy. If we also consider ball possession, we can see also is a very ball possession oriented team. They were already quite much with Igor Tudor, but now with Spalletti they are even more. They are there in the top 3 together with Como and with Inter. Also Napoli is there. We don't see here teams like Milan or Roma, which are usually also in the top, but not in terms of ball possession. Something that also surprised me is that we are talking about one of the youngest squads in Serie A, only 25 years of age. So it's also, I think, exciting for Juventus for the future that they have some young players doing well, like, for example, Miretti or Gildi, that there's a lot of talks that a lot of clubs, some of the top clubs in Europe are interested in Gildi, in the Turkish player. And yeah, if we also check, this one is interesting one about the long passes we see in Serie A. We can see that the two teams that they use less long passes, those are Juventus and Milan. We can see here the list. We can see Roma 840, Inter 822, using more long passes. Even Como or Napoli. We know Como that they like to play quite a lot balls in behind for the wingers, long balls for example, from goal kicks, more in this Roberto Chervi style. But if we go to Juventus, and I think obviously here there's a mix between Igor Tudor and Spalletti, so we cannot judge this is only from Spalletti, but we can see Juventus being one of the lowest teams in terms of long passes, Jamie.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think we expect that from a Spalletti team as well. If you think back to his Napoli team, one of his most recent ones, he likes the ball on the. He had this quote just recently. He was like, "Oh, we like to hear the ball move across the grass in the right way, and that's how we do our talking." You know, all this kind of romantic stuff. I quite like Spalletti for that. But it's also interesting, you know, because it's maybe a little bit contrary to some of the broader themes we see talked about at top level football, at the elite level, that the game is more direct now, etc., etc. For Spalletti's Juve, sure they can attack fast, as we'll see, but yeah, they like to play a short passing game, which affords some interesting things.
Yes, and if we look, that's something interesting also. If we look in terms of 1v1 and dribbling attempts, we can see that Juventus is the team that they try more 1v1 situations in the league. But this has an explanation, I think, especially if we talk about dribbling and 1v1 situations, we have to talk about Gildi. We can see here he's the top one in the league in terms of 1v1 attempts. This is only attempts, but also the success rate is quite big. I think it's more than 60%. So many of the dribbles he attempts, they are good. And the same for Conceição, which I'm surprised because Conceição is in this list in the top 10. but he has only played, you say he had an injury, and I think he has played much less than the rest of the players, but he's still this kind of 1v1 player that can give this quality in the last third for Juventus. And I don't know if you agree with me, Jamie, but it's difficult to have two top world-class players in terms of 1v1 in the squad, and Juventus had them with Gilded and Conceição, right?
Yeah, and it's really refreshing to see this kind of stats, right, for these attacking players being given license, right, to go and attack their opponents, and again to show their capacities, to show their skills, to show what they're good at. And as we'll see, some of these, and there's differences as well. Like, it's not that they're the same kind of dribbler. Yildiz in particular is a very interesting kind of dribbler, which we'll get to. He has good associative qualities as well when he's dribbling, so it actually brings other players into the game. So his 1v1s are linked with other aspects. But it's exciting and fun, and I think really effective to see these guys having that license to go and show what they can do in these 1v1s.
Yeah, and I think there's quite many talk in Italy that Italy is not producing this kind of players, this kind of wingers, and that's the reason why many teams are playing this 5-3-2. No? And it's true that we can see in this list that there are not so many players, only Politano. No, but the rest are players from abroad, and there's a lot of talk also for the Italian national team that Italy has to play in this 5-3-2. They are producing win, but if you watch, I watch a lot of games, Serie A, Serie B. Everyone is playing 5-3-2, so it's difficult to find this kind of players. But Juventus have two, and they are both Gilded and Conceição, world-class 1v1 players, but Gilded is not only a great 1v1 player, he's also a player that is producing a lot of goals and assists. I think it's 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 goal production for Juventus. I think it's quite massive for how young he is, only 20 years old. And how much he's helping Juventus, especially now with Spalletti. It's something that we need to talk about. I also wanted to talk about one of my favorite players. I think you might agree with me. I fall in love with him when he was playing for Roberto De Cervi in Sassuolo. I went live to watch a game in Italy from Sassuolo, from Roberto De Cervi. It was my first impression when I saw Locatelli playing inside the box, building up with Sassuolo, and I didn't know him, but I was surprised how well he played that game. And he's always a player that I have been following, and I always felt that he can still, I trust him a lot, so I always felt that he can always give a bit more. But I think under Thiago Motta he was already playing some good football. I love his first touch. He can play these progressive passes, but with the first touch, he doesn't need to carry the ball a lot to influence the game. And we can see here he's in top of the list in terms of progressive passes, and I think the context obviously helps him, but I think he's an amazing player for this kind of situations. I don't know if you agree with me, Jamie.
Yeah, I love Locatelli. I love these, might call it more deep line playmaker types, right? They have this, I always think of it as 360 perception, right? They just seem to have eyes on the back of their heads. They can read the dynamics of the game so well. And with Locatelli as well, it's his timing, it's his ability to control the tempo of a game and understand when the moment to make a line-breaking pass. This is so important. Probably one of the main reasons why he has so many is that he has this ability to read the motion, the momentum of the opposing block, and then just oftentimes slice back through it with playing against momentum. And he's such an easy player to watch, right? He has that kind of easy vibe, which I really appreciate. This is against Pisa, so a few games later now. Spalletti's got a few more games under his belt. Kalulu there in the back line. Watch his actions. Just dropping it inside. Zegrova on the right.
Here is dropping the Jonathan David, the striker.
Right, that's right. So it's going into, that's the striker, Jonathan David. So a different striker now to Vlahovic. So David, and we'll see this again, repeated motif. Kalulu, linking with David again. Look at Kalulu after the pass. This is essentially the right centre back moving forward. Continues to move. A little layoff from David as he dropped in. Zagrova picking it up right. And again, if we go back a little bit, we can again see this. It's also worth pointing out that the player receiving this pass is Cambiasso. So if you go back, Ruxi, could you go back a little bit? Just keep our eyes on Cambiasso. Even further to see where he comes from, right? I think he's done a little rotation with Thuram out on the other side. I think that's Thuram on the outside, so Cambiasso is just a little bit inside. There we go. You see him?
Oh, yeah, and I can see.
So he's almost like playing a kind of midfield role at this moment. It's all a little bit loose.
Yeah.
And as the play develops on the right-hand side, it's McKennie and Zagrova over there. Zagrova gets it. It's Cambiasso making that almost number 9 sort of channel run. McKennie, step over, right? Shadow play dummy from McKennie. Okay, nice combination. And then who's there to finish? Because remember, David had dropped out. It's Kalulu, the right centre back, to get the finish. So you've got like your right centre back, essentially your left wing back. Lots of already we can see it's not so straightforward as just players switching positions with each other. There's like general fluidity going on here. And again, inside diagonal ball from Zagrova, little trick, deceptive move from McKennie that allows the penetration to happen.
This is something I wanted to ask you because I see it a lot in Serie A, and actually Juventus under Igor Tudor with Gatti, they were doing it a lot. We obviously know Inter with Bastoni. We know Milan with Pavlovic. So there are a lot of teams in Serie A now using one of the center backs, the side center backs, giving total freedom to them to join the attacks. No, it's something that I think now I would say it's a trend in Serie A that they are using this center back with freedom to push up.
Yeah, I mean it's fine if you've got 2 other guys back there, then against certain game situations, I don't see a problem with it. I think, and especially when you have skill sets like Kalulu and you mentioned Bastoni, really comfortable on the ball, gives that extra element of surprise to defenders. Again against man marking, like whose responsibility is that to pick up that player? Causes a lot of confusion. So I'm a fan. Like I like this kind of thing. And if the player has the characteristics to do it, why limit them to have to stay back in your back 3? Go play. Pass, move, run forward, and find yourself in the 6-yard box. I think it's actually an own goal, but essentially be there. I like it as a trend. Yeah.
We remember Calafiori also doing it with Bologna, no? with Thiago Motta. And honestly, I think that I always say this, that the forwards don't like to follow the centre backs that far, and that this is becoming a problem. And I saw it Inter. When they did it with Bastoni, they created a lot of problems to Barca because Lamine Yamal didn't like to track back. So then it started to become a problem for Barca's press because all the Barca players, they saw, this player is from Lamine Yamal, but Lamine Yamal is not following. So now what do we do? So then there's some changes of mark, and then it's when the opposition can create problems to you.
Yeah, I think it really makes sense, especially like you say, against these man marking systems. Okay, this is Roma, so this is like a big game, right? So top of the table type clash against Gasparini's Roma. This comes from a corner, and Roma try a quick counter. They try and launch it to do the transition attack, but it's not so accurate. Juventus pick it up. And we'll see Yildiz here come into the play. So it's a little bit disorganized. It's a bit chaotic because it's just after the corner. But quickly they're going to funnel the ball to Yildiz. Just go back. I really like this from Yildiz. And if you just a little bit back, the way he prepares this.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the way he prepares the space. He actually like almost breaks the opponent here. If you watch the body language,
like a 1-2 move. Yeah.
And this is like these little details. I always love to see it in a player that they're preparing the space. If he's going to go behind, maybe he comes close, then goes behind. But if he's going to come short, he goes away, then close. And it just really, it seems small, but at this level, like it's super important that it gives him this situation.
Yeah.
And he can start to play. And again, so Yildiz, very interesting dribbler. He likes to keep the ball very close to his feet, which is something that I really like with dribblers, because it gives you that, okay, you don't know where you're going to go. The defender doesn't know where he's going to go. It's like it's on his laces of his right boot a lot of the time, which I really like. But as I mentioned, he's an associative dribbler, and I'm really always interested to watch how teammates play when one of their teammates is dribbling, right? Like, because it's not so easy when one of your teammates is dribbling. Sometimes you see players who don't really know what they're doing, like, they kind of almost get dribbled into and they don't move particularly well. But I think Juventus, the players seem to have a really good understanding of Yildiz's dribbling. And Yildiz likes to play 1-2s and little give and goes. We see it sometimes in this situation, he'll just pop it inside. It's Cambiasso this time, who actually makes a flick. Often Yildiz, he makes a pass and move to go outside in that one. Sometimes he'll go inside, but he loves a little wall pass quite often to help with his dribbling. Interesting here is that if you stop it when he gets to Cambiasso's foot, a little bit, can you? Yeah. Here, look at the Roma perception of the defenders, right? The defenders are expecting the ball to go where the receiver is looking, right? That's where they're primed to expect. So they're expecting, I think, a 1-2 here with Yildiz. Yildiz making the pass move. Look at the eyes. Look where they're looking. And look, Conceição's just almost sneaked in, right, behind their backs. No one is picking him up in that box. How many Roma defenders there? Because their perception is on Yildiz, on the 1-2. And this is the great benefit, the tactical benefit of tricks and flicks and shadow play, right? Is because it doesn't just look nice. It's really effective because it's against the perception of the defenders. And there you go. Little flick again. How many times have we seen it already? Is this type of motif in Spalletti's Juve, and it gets them the 1-0 at a really important time in a really big game, and I think it's a really important moment. I think that this kind of goal happened with this kind of play. I think it'll be really good for the players in terms of their belief and their buy-in and what they're doing. I love that one.
One of the difference now that I'm watching these clips is I remember with Igor Tudor, when Yildiz had this kind of balls, they rely a lot in crosses to the second post. So they tried to overload, and now he's looking more for short combination.
Yes, it's a really important distinction. Not always applicable, depending on the winger, right? Some wingers are best left alone, I think, and hit the byline, make the cutbacks, etc. But even with crosses and cutbacks, the defense has more time to see, right? It's more predictable what is going to happen. Is it cut back? We guard the near post. We check our marks. Big cross in the box. Yeah, okay, everyone pick up. You can still concede a goal. But with these inside combinations on an inside dribble, you see these things start to happen, these unexpected little flicks, these twists, and all of a sudden, it's not so easy for the defenders. They lose their marks. I think it's a really good way to attack the box. And I would always enjoy watching teams. And I think as we move forward, as defenses are becoming so difficult to break down, this kind of attack, I hope we see more and more.
Next one we have here.
So this is continuing the theme, actually. So this is the most recent game against Cremonese. And again, we'll see the ball arrive at Yildiz, and he'll face up his man, and in he goes, right? Little jinking, right foot, ball close to the foot. And again, we see the movements, right, of the teammates, and understanding to actually, okay, where's Yildiz going? Can we almost run across the defender to affect their perception, to open the lane? So there's the first movement. And then the second one, I think it's David doing the second one. There he goes again. The next one goes, and it opens this line for Yildiz. It's not great defending, but at the same time, it was Cambiasso who did the first move, and then David. The way that they're able to say, okay, Yildiz is Kennan's on a dribble here. How do we help him? Does he need a 1-2? No, he's going too fast. Let's move. Let's go across the line of vision of the defender. Let's make this deceptive move, and it opens up the line. So for me, that's like almost a collective dribble, right? They all took part in that dribble. Yildiz is doing the cool stuff, right? The ball carrying, going inside, twisting, jinking. But his teammates really help him out there with their interpretation and their understandings of Yildiz, which again, I like to see this kind of communication between the players.
No, and if I compare it to when Igor Tudor was there, probably these players, they will not have been here. Maybe they will have been more a bit to the second post or looking for a cross. But yeah, and also, I mean, Juventus also created problems and in this kind of cross because Gildi at the end, he has a good technique also for this cross to the second post. But yeah, it's interesting to see this kind of movement.
Yeah, it's definitely not to say they don't cross. They do, and its crossing is good a lot of the time. But it's this variation, right? It's what are they going to do? We don't know. It's this unpredictability that I think is really nice. There's a couple of the replays are in just again to show this movement. There goes one, almost like I call it the staircase or ladders, whatever you want to call it. These little inside, because you're going horizontally and vertically, right? Which may sound a little bit technical jargon, but if you're a defender, that means you have these two vectors at the same time that you're trying to coordinate, which is more complex, right? It's more difficult. Things are moving across your line of vision. Things are going against momentum, and it's not so easy to keep track of what's happening.
For me, these kind of runs, they are more to drag players out of position than to receive the ball. Because if you play them in this kind of situation, you play them towards the corner flag. That is something that you're probably not interested. But you as a defender that I am, you need to follow, because if not, you also don't want to concede maybe that much space. Even if it's towards the corner flag, you don't want to concede that much space in that zone. So at the end you have to follow, and then it opens space for the winger inside.
I think there's one more angle, Ruxi, as well, which I just couldn't help. I just think it's even this one. It gets even more a defender's eye view almost. One goes across. You see it flash across. Another one flashes across. Like I love that stuff. Really deceptive.
Mm-hmm. Let's continue. We are halfway of the clips. Let's watch now this clip against Sassuolo.
Again, recent game. I think the game before last is Koop Miners in the back three this time. And what's interesting about this one, as the ball's played to the right, I think it's Kalulu picking it up. This is something you probably just wouldn't see that often, I think, from big clubs. So let's see what what happens here. Right into the middle, inside diagonal. You can see, if you freeze it, you can see the line, right? This line of 4 players. And this is something I've always been very interested in. And if you're a bit of a nerd like me and you go back through history, there's many teams that organize like this, right? They organize in certain moments, diagonals happen. The ball gets chipped into Thuram. And also, maybe it's worth pointing out, to chip into Thuram is probably better than chipping it into Moretti, because this high ball, you're probably going to get a bit more pressure. Thuram probably a bit stronger to handle that, shield it. So again, who are you passing to? How are you passing to them? And how do those characteristics actually affect the action? And that's something that I feel like I see in Juventus, these little details. Moretti is quick to go and support Thuram for the layoff, and you get this little pick up and little flick. And then again, who do we have? David dropping in, false 9. What's he doing? Little flick. And maybe even David could turn, right, with that. But I like the fact he lays it off, because Thuram is already moving with momentum. If David stops and turns, maybe it slows down, maybe it gets pressurized. But it's that realization that, okay, who's moving? How can I keep the momentum going? Little flick. And then you have Thuram, who has these characteristics that allow him to get forward and being an attacking threat around the box. Good in open, big spaces, Thuram, right? He's a fantastic dribbler, fantastic technique, but he can cover ground, right? So I love that little inside diagonal into the center of the field. Layoff, flick, pick up, and Thuram goes for the shot. Why not? You've made the play. And it's, again, a nice illustration, I think, of how this way of playing, whether you're using these concepts, maybe like diagonals, flicks, shadow plays, supporting the receivers. It's yes, there's a formation, there's clearly a structure, but it's a very, I would call almost conceptual attack rather than a structured attack. And that adds to unpredictability. And I think it is something that we see in Spalletti.
It's also important to mention that the difference a bit between Locatelli and Thuram is that Thuram has more freedom, no, to stay between the lines, because Yildiz is also moving to as a left winger at times. no, and this leaves space inside for Thuram to opens this. I think this we analyzed already from Tudor. That is something that open this space for Thuram for carrying the ball forward and finish off the actions. And we can see here that Thuram is more like a number 8, no, with more freedom to join the attacks.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so different. I watched a lot of Thuram when he was at Nice when Farioli was there. And Farioli had a very good start to the league. They were top of the league. But Thuram never, I thought, particularly suited Farioli's system, which is, of course, a great system. What he's doing with Porto is like fantastic. Mm-hmm. But a player like Thuram, maybe being a more, let's say, static 8, wasn't necessarily, I think, is good for Thuram. I think in this system, he seems to have a bit more license to roam, to attack big spaces, to play a little bit more off the cuff. And again, every player is different. It's about how the systems work. And I really like to see Thuram in this style of play.
Mm-hmm. Next one. Again with Sassuolo. Mainers here giving a good ball between the lines as a left centre back.
And I also like, if you just go back, I'm always a fan of passes like this, that when the defensive block is, let's say, shifting across from left to right for Sassuolo here, that the pass goes back inside against their momentum. Like, this is a coaching point that I really like to make, is to try and get the passer to understand when is this moment to break the momentum. Yildiz coming in off the side to make this flick. There it is.
Again, flick. Again, flick.
Yeah, and again, another flick. As the play develops, you can see they lose the ball actually this time. So I just worth pointing out that there's a counter press for Juventus. It's not like the craziest counter press of all time. It's not like, Schmidt Leverkusen of 2015 or some crazy like counter pressing, but it's there. There's proximity around the ball, and they are aware that it needs to be won back quickly. Having said that, if we're praising Spalletti a lot, sometimes the distances are quite big. Maybe against the very top teams in these situations, the counterattacks are going to be more of a problem. So that's something to watch out for. Again, and it's David as well, he was dropping in. He was able to make a counter-pressing action as well. Yildiz dribbling again. And it's actually Moretti who gets the final attempt on goal. But just want to illustrate, Koopmeiners in the back line making that line-breaking pass. Yildiz with the flick again. But then as the play breaks, there's that counter press, which I think is an important part of this style of football.
Jamie, we will not go through a lot defensively, but what has been your impression of them defensively in general, overall?
Yeah, in general, we'll see maybe in the clip against Napoli, there'll be high pressing on restarts, almost man-to-man a lot, more or less. If that press gets broken, then drop back and defend the zone, try and get pressure in the right moments. I don't think it's anything crazily complex or anything like that, but I think it seems to be working okay. Like I've said, I would just raise a flag on sometimes with this kind of combination football. One of the reasons it's good to play close together a lot of the time is to guard yourself against transitions, right, and control tempo. Juventus tend to have relatively big spacing, right? They are using, across the pitch. They're keeping width a lot of the time. So if you are making these kind of flicks and tricks and combinations sometimes, and it breaks in the center of the field, then okay, against very top teams, you're not going to get many chances on to survive a counterattack against them. So. That could be something that maybe as we see the season progresses and bigger opponents, that could be an issue. How to control that'll be interesting how Spalletti attends to it.
Yeah, I would like to see more from them, especially in Champions League games, and about the counter-pressing situations when you play this kind of football. I think we could show it in the analysis we have in YouTube from Mjällby. I know it's a team that you have been following, the Swedish champions, and we could see a lot of counter-pressing. We could see a lot of players gathering together in wide zones, and trying to overload. And then combining, but if they lose the ball, they have the sideline and they are very close to each other to recover the ball back.
Yeah, so maybe we don't see as many of those side overloads in Juventus, in Spalletti. You see them sometimes, like absolutely, and we will see them again. They're there, but perhaps they need to do a little bit more of that. in order to control tempo and protect themselves in certain moments of the game. Otherwise, it could develop into a bit of a basketball game at points. And against some of these counter-attacking teams, like that's a dangerous game to play for sure.
And let's watch now against Bodo Glimt in Champions League. I think this is, from all the clips, this is my favorite one. We have also 2 build-ups, and they are both great. We can see here the 4-2-3-1, no, kind of structure.
Yeah, this is from the build-up. They've got that, as you say, almost like a clear 4-2-3-1 structure. But I would say that as the play develops, again, it's not really the structure. The players are in certain positions, but for me, it's more concepts like pass and move, playing around the corner, supporting the receiver. That are the keys to Juventus getting out here. Because again, not an easy place to go and do this up in the Arctic Circle, right, away from home against Bodo Glimt. Very, very good team. When they get that crowd going, like that's not an easy game. But you can see that I think it was Koopmeiners and Cambiasso did the first 1-2s back at the start, and they just progressed so fluidly up the pitch. But I think to have the confidence as well, Ruxi, right? You know what it's like to play football, like to have the confidence to play pass and move round the corner in these situations and trust each other. That's something, that's important to note, this psychological aspect, this belief that we can essentially just outplay you here in an almost 5-a-side futsal way.
But I said it in the Miyagi video. I think the key of this is that if you play together with your teammates there, you feel more protected, and then it allows you to take more risks because your teammates are very close to you and they will help you. So it doesn't feel like you are just open and the distances are big, that if you lose the ball there, whoa, we are going to concede a chance. And then it's when you, as a fullback, I play fullback, left fullback sometimes, is when, I'm not going to maybe do a pass and move here, or I'm not going to take a risk or make a flick or something like this. But when you play together with many players there, I'm protected. It's very difficult that if I lose the ball, the opposition will get a chance.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, again, I love that. Just round the corner, give and go, double give and go, boom, forward pass. Okay, a little bit lucky there, maybe. But yeah, to complete the action there. And again, it's run a flick again. It's this little round the corner flick. And I think these moves, right, they give you big energy as a player, right? So when you complete a move like that, it's like, and especially even after the game, when the coach shows you in the analysis and says, hey guys, like, come on, this is great. Like, you feel good, right? And you're like, okay, we can do this. We can do it again. We can do it. And again, against man-to-man marking, it's not so much about the free man in these build-ups. It's more about becoming a free man thanks to passing and moving. Yeah, I thought they were really nice build-ups. All down the left as well, let's say. All down the left.
Yeah.
Flank. And it ends in a goal. I think it's Cambiasso.
Cambiasso also playing I think Cambiasso is the player playing the first pass inside. If we see here, I think is this one playing the wrong-footed pass inside that we spoke about. I think here, if you see this one, yeah, 1-2, and he's actually the player ending up attacking the space in behind. No, it's not him. No, or is him? No, I think this is not
hard to ID always at this distance, but I think it's Conceição maybe the final shot.
Yeah, Conceição, yeah.
But again, all up the left flank. And a really fun attitude to the build-up.
And Miretti here is approaching the ball also, right?
Yeah, Miretti's involved in this one. Just play it on.
You can see him dropping, no, to the ball zone.
He can. It's hard to see as well, but his scanning is always great. Checking his shoulders, what's going to happen? How can I support the play? Again, little passing, little three-man game in the corner, almost this little pass and move situation to get out.
Interesting, this one, yeah.
Because they're all marked, those three players, right?
Again, wrong-footed pass inside, which I think it helps in this kind of situation. It helps a lot.
Yeah. And then Miretti here, because of his, I love the first time around the corner, left foot. Like the scanning allows him to do it. Again, he's perceiving. I mentioned this, fairly regularly about scanning as the ball is traveling. Can you do it late as the ball is arriving at you, so you know that picture to play those first time passes? to understand what's happening. Moretti's so good. I love Moretti in this, the way he perceives the game. And yeah, that left foot pass to get them out.
Yeah, similar to Locatelli with his right, but they are able to do this without looking. They know there's a player between the line, and they are able to play this one-touch combination.
I've got an interesting little quote here for you. You want one, Ruxi? This is from Spalletti, right? He said in an interview that in addition to playing where we see, we have to play where we feel, because you don't see everything. That was Spalletti a few weeks ago saying this. Interesting again. Okay. So again, like, is this a coincidence that the coach is speaking like this and the players are doing this stuff? I think you can see a correlation. How you're coaching it, how you're putting it in, okay, a little bit more of a mystery, right? So really, really interesting. And then again, the fluidity of the attack, keeping the momentum. Love the high cut back there, almost is not from the line. Again, this concept of, again, something I go on about all the time in analysis and coaching, is going against the momentum of the defensive block. If the defensive block is going towards their own goal, play back against them. If the defensive block is going to that side, play back against them, because it affords more time for the receiver. They're wrong-footed, their balance is off, and again, you have a free player in the box. Fantastic move to go from your own corner 3-man game up to a clear chance in the opponent's box. Like that's high level football there.
I agree that one player attacking maybe the first post to make the defenders drop, and then you always have a player for the cutback or the back pass. And I think it's very difficult to defend in this kind, especially in this kind of fast situations. If you have the midfielders getting into the box and protecting that zone, but in fast transitions, I think this is key.
This is a more transition moment. Yeah, here you can see a little bit more of the pressing. We talked about it a little bit before. It's Napoli with the ball, and you can see more or less man-to-man organization over the pitch. Napoli goes long because of that. They want to try and hit. I think it's Højlund, right, at the top. Bit of a 50-50 long ball. This is another, I think, advantage. If we see here, Locatelli and Thuram, they are great players, but they are good enough in duels that they can fight. They have some physicality in there as well, which is a really nice mix. You can see them both on the spot, right? Like, we're there to put this fire out. We're second ball. They've recovered well. Locatelli, good tackle. And then it's Cambiasso, again, pass and move to Yildiz. I think Yildiz approaching Cambiasso, saying, yes, give me it. And again, I think Yildiz could turn in that situation, but I actually like, again, the fact that he flicked it, like David earlier on. I think he could turn, but I like the fact that he flicks it, because Cambiasso is moving with momentum, right? And it keeps that. And then again, I like as well here, sorry, if you go back to Cambiasso, just before he passes it inside. So many times you see depth. It's like immediately in behind for the runner in behind. And oftentimes it's a bad choice, and the striker's running away from goal and it gets stopped. I love inside perception, to play inside first, because then the defense has to stop, and they have to kind of, we can't just retreat. Now we have to check our movement, and I love this little pass back inside. I think it's maybe a detail, but I think it's so important here. Now the defense has to stop and square themselves up, which then allows another third man fluid combination to happen. And this is just an example, I think, of a team, really well attuned. It's just such a lovely fluid counter-attack. And again, it's getting you a goal in a really important game at a really important moment. Yildiz is the guy finishing it. Classic little inside run there. But it's just the way that they construct that so easily on the eye, right? And without losing any momentum. And that's, I think, the key to getting in behind there.
Great goal. Again, I think this game, how this game ended, it was a 1-1.
I think they lost 2-1. I think this one.
2-1, they lost? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, another clip against Sassuolo.
Yeah.
This one about Jonathan David, right?
Yeah. As they build the play, we'll see them a little bit constructing the play, going inside to Thuram, to Locatelli, controlling tempo. Again, we just see this all the time, just these little passes inside the block. There's David. Nothing fancy from David. He's not like the most spectacular flick trick player, David, but what I like is that he's there where he needs to be, and he plays pretty simple most of the time. Just lay off. That's it. That's all we need from you there. Then we go for the next one. Okay, no problem. We can't actually progress in that moment. No problem. But it keeps the fluidity. David making another run, making an offer. Is it the moment to attack? There's McKennie, like on the right wing back in this situation. Moretti supporting, players moving around, moving the block, nice and easy.
Look, Locatelli is scanning here already. Eh? I like this because he knows, he collects information before receiving always. Again,
Locatelli knows. Is the forward pass? No. Is it on? Now this one again, like really nice. Thuram, I think if you go back, like Thuram has been, if you go back a little bit, is it Koopmeiners? I think it's Koopmeiners, right? But
yeah,
Thuram, as he's carrying the ball forward, Thuram is scanning inside to David, right? He's looking inside to David. Where's the reference? How can we make a little bit of a combination? So, and it's Cambiaso's come inside as well, and here we go. David, simple. Thuram, third man run. Cambiaso flick. Third man. If you go back a little bit as well to when he makes the flick, look where McKennie is now. That's him playing number 9, right? So he started on the right touchline. Now he recognizes because David's dropping, they're coming to the ball. We need a 9, and it's Cambiaso flicking. So left wing back Cambiaso flicking, right wing back McKennie, number 9, number 6 Thuram going on the run. I mean, what is happening here? This is unusual.
Free football.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and a clear chance. Honestly.
Yeah, maybe a cutback if you're being really harsh, but okay.
Yeah. Little short combinations, and it seems they make it seem easy.
And look how many Sassuolo defenders are there, right, on the edge of the box. Like normally you would see that and go, oh, you can't attack through that. There's too many. They're too compact. Well, with the right timing, the right movement, the right understanding, you can go through.
Mm-hmm. And the last one is this one is a goal against Cremonese, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the fifth in a 5-0. So Cremonese are pretty dead in this at this point, to be fair.
Cremonese another 5-3-2 from what I see here. I'm not sure. But
it didn't really help them too much against Juventus. But here, I love this one. This is Locatelli, right? I mean, again, the defense is shifting, right? What side are they shifting? And then look at the angle of the pass and the timing of it. Bang.
Ball inside to Jonathan David, no?
Yeah, nothing fancy from David, but also look, who's the right winger here in this situation? I can't quite see.
Conceição.
Is it Conceição's come on? Or is it?
Yeah,
so already the third. Maybe if David develops his game, he could even do around the corner, to try and go immediately in behind. Maybe it's not the right option, but possible. But David, again, he keeps it simple, which is all he needs to do, is to keep these moves going. Can they attack in that one? No. Okay. Not a problem. Keep the tempo. Could have gone inside, maybe, but no need to risk it in this moment.
This is something we spoke about also. Locatelli dropping, between centre backs, dropping deep to organize.
Exactly. And the last pass he made was with his right foot. That one to David, right? And now just the ball come right. Was it? Yeah. So shifting against momentum inside on his right foot. Okay, they didn't penetrate. So now it goes back. This time against momentum with his left foot. Bang. This is hard to defend against and demoralizing to defend against, actually, when you're just getting sliced through. It's Moretti that receives it this time.
It's a bit of yo-yo, maybe, no? That he should be maybe switching play, but he plays to the same side.
But again, we talk about so many tactical concepts. For me, playing against defensive momentum is such an important concept in so many moments of the game. Moretti, doesn't have an immediate flick, but he sees the pressure. He keeps the move going. And this time, we see a cross. It's Kalulu. And McKennie, who had switched to left wing back later in the game.
McKennie is everywhere.
And then there's a cross with a header from McKennie. So varied, right, how they're attacking. Game state's important to understand here as well. Even Moretti dropping out there again, give me the ball, edge of the box. There's options emerging all the time in real time. So that was a really impressive performance against Cremonese.
Mm-hmm. So we already watched all the clips. I think it has been fun. I think they are a special team. We hope they do well during next month. I wanted to ask you: do you? I don't know how much do you follow Serie A. Here in our channel, we try to watch it. Especially, I have been watching a lot of Milan games, Roma, Como. A bit of Napoli, actually Inter very little this season. I need to watch them. But do you think now, from the games you have seen, do you think they are ready to compete for Scudetto this season and at least to go quite far in Champions League?
I think potentially, yeah. I haven't watched a huge amount of Serie A, but I'm familiar with the general approach of the opponents. Napoli Conte's teams are always very difficult. They're very consistent. They have a very distinct style, and they're working pretty well, I would say, at the moment. Inter, I haven't actually watched a huge amount of under Kivu, so I can see they're doing well, but I'm not so familiar with their approach. But just looking at the quality that Juventus have, I think they have a potential to stay in the fight. It's worth saying that this run of good results has come against, without being disrespectful, a little bit lesser teams, and they have, although Roma, Napoli's been in there as well, but there are big games coming up, and I guess in the next month, 6 weeks or so, we'll have a real clear picture about how robust this style is against the top teams. And I would come back to that point about if a combination breaks, are they guarded well enough against counterattack? I think breaking blocks and attacking, they look great. They look really impressive. There's always trade-offs in football. Would they need to balance that trade-off and be able to protect themselves? But, it's looking promising.
Mm-hmm. We will be following them. For example, I'm thinking now against Roma from Gasperini will be also a very interesting game to watch, because when you lose the ball, Roma's wingback, Gasperini's wingbacks, they are already running to attack the space in behind. They don't wait. And it will be interesting also to follow Juventus in Champions League. We will be following them. We will be following Spalletti and his team. And hopefully you like the video. Give us a like. Subscribe to our channel. We will be coming with a new team with Jamie. We were already talking about some team that we will like to analyze for the next video. We are preparing also other teams in Spanish and in English. We remind you we have a platform. We have a lot of coaches from all over the world inside, where we share games in Tactical Camp. We share clips from different playing ideas, also set pieces from different leagues, that every day we have more and more coaches and analysts joining from all over the world. Jamie, for me, it was a pleasure to have you here to learn. I think you have a different vision from football than the common people, and we are learning a lot by listening to you. And it was a pleasure that you can join our channel, and we hope we can have you more times.
Yeah, always a pleasure. I really enjoy talking football with you guys, and it's a great platform to do it. It's been really fun. So thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you. See you guys. See you. Thank you. If you have passion for the game and you like this kind of content, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us to keep growing. Thank you.